What's up guys, it's Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I want to do my third installment on my MySQL tutorials. So as I stated in the intro of the video, I wanted to go through and show you guys how to work with MySQL again. In this video, I want to heavily focus on using MySQL Workbench, which is the application that you will use to actually connect to MySQL databases. And just to give you a better understanding of what MySQL Workbench is, it's a visual database designing and modeling access tool for MySQL Server, relational databases. It facilitates creation of new physical data models and modification of existing MySQL databases with reverse forward engineering and change management functions. The main purpose of MySQL Workbench is to provide the interface to work with databases more easily and in a more structured way. So with that being said, in my last couple videos, I went over how to actually log into the server, create users, create databases, run basic queries and all that. Well, this is a tool to make all those things simpler to actually do on the MySQL server. So sit back, relax. I'm gonna go through and walk you guys through how to actually use MySQL Workbench, as well as connecting to a server, a pre-built server that I have set up. And we'll go through and run queries and some of the other things that we did in the previous videos, but using Microsoft Workbench. So let's get started. Okay, cool. So I have my VM up and running. This is Manjaro with the XFCE desktop. And this is the distribution I want to show you guys MySQL Workbench on. Now, I'll be connecting to a Ubuntu 20.04 MySQL database. But the first thing, let me go on and show you guys how to install it. And MySQL Workbench is in all distributions, in most distributions of Linux. So it should be in all the repositories. But the command to install it on Manjaro is sudo pacman. We all know the pacman command. Dash capital S, and then MySQL dash workbench, and press enter, and this will install MySQL Workbench on your system. It might take a couple seconds, but we'll go on and get it done. And as you guys know, I like to install things from the terminal, but you could have installed it from the software center. I just wanted to install it this way. Okay, so the installation has completed. Let me go down and exit out the terminal. And you guys know I like to install things from the terminal. That's why I went on and did that way. But you could have easily went into the software center. Actually, let's type software. Yeah, under add remove software. And you could have went in here and actually installed it that way. And you could type in Workbench and it'll search for you and find it. And there you go. See, it's already installed. But so let me go down and close that. But let's go down and open it up and show you how to actually use it. All right, cool. So this is what MySQL Workbench looks like when you first open it up. And I'll read a little bit right here. It says, welcome to MySQL Workbench. MySQL Workbench is the official graphical user interface, GUI tool for MySQL. It allows you to design, create, and browse your database schemes, work with database objects, and insert data, as well as design and run SQL queries to work with stored data. You can also migrate schemes and data from other database vendors to your MySQL database. And that's another cool thing about this thing. You can actually connect to Microsoft SQL servers from Workbench. So that's a cool thing about it. Now, the first thing you want to do when you actually open up software is actually create connections to these servers. Now, if you have MySQL installed locally, then it's easy to just use the standard TCP IP connections. But I have a Ubuntu server up and running that has MySQL on it that I'm going to connect to. So I'm going to show you how to do it over SSH. And that's the third option down when you actually open up software or open up creating the connection. So if we select that. Let's go down and create a connection name. I'm just say Ubuntu server. And this one is actually 20.04. So I'm gonna just name it that. And you don't have to worry about this being anything. It could be anything. I just put that as the name, but you can name it whatever you want to name it to specify whatever server that you're connecting to. So with the parameters, the first thing you want to do is put the SSH server that you're connecting to. So I already know what the IP address is, and it's 192.168.10.120. And you want to put the port behind it. It comes with the port, but port 22. And if you had a non-standard port, you would put it there for your SSH connection. And then you want to put your user account, which my user account is Josh. And then just to tell you what this is right here, you can store your password in a keychain. That way you don't have to type it in. And let me go down and do that on here. That way it won't ask me every time I connect. It's good that you do this every single time. That way it'll save you on connection time. So we did that. We stored the password there. Now this next section right here, this is if you have SSH keys set up. So if you have SSH keys or SSH connections using key files, then you want to add that private key here. And that private key is stored locally on your system. So you just need to link to it or put the path there. So you can hit the little 3 buttons here, and it'll actually, you can browse your system and pull up your SSH key and select it there. So every single time you connect, your key will be here and it'll automatically connect. Now, just to explain this section, this is the actual MySql connection. And so if you think of it this way, the first thing it's going to do is allow you to SSH into the server. So you SSH here, and then this will allow you to connect to MySql. But at this point, you're already connected to the server itself locally. It looks at it like you're already connected locally. And so you don't have to put the IP address here. You just put the home address here for the server, like localhost or 127.0.0.1, and then the port number, and then your user account on that server, your MySql user account on that server. And I went on and created a user account on that server just to, save some time. And then also you can store that password in your keychain as well. And I'll leave that one open for right now, but let's go on and test the connection. So like I said, the first thing it's going to do is SSH into the server. Second port is going to connect to MySql. So let's test the connection now. So this is the first time connecting to it, so it saves the fingerprint on the system. So we press OK. And then now it's going to ask you for your MySql password. And just so you know, that password could be different. You could have like a stronger password on here. So you want to make sure you use that password. And then you can also save it to the keychain here as well, which I'll just do it here. I just wanted something to pop up so you guys can actually see the connection. And if we press OK here, it'll go on and establish the connection. It says successfully made a MySql connection. And here's some information related to the connection and all that. So we can just press OK right there. But the connection is good. So we can press OK right here. And once you add connections, they'll show up here. That's why you want to have different names for them. So if you connect into a different MySql server, you want to have a different name. And so they'll pop up as like blocks here on the different connections that you have. And then when you want to connect to them, you just click on it and it'll go through and connect. And since we saved all our passwords, that's all going to pop up there. Now that we're connected to the Ubuntu server, I just wanted to, kind of give you an idea, show you what it actually looks like. So, and if we look over here on this side, I'm gonna start on this side right here. This is where you have like 2 tabs here. The first one is administrator. Now this allows you to actually administer the server. So they have a server status. You can click on that. You can see the server status, the version, you know, all the information. It's compiled for Linux, the amount of connections to the server, and you can see that, yeah, the status is running, as well as some pertinent information about the server. So you can actually manage the server pretty good from Workbench. Let's make this a little bigger over here, and whatever. And if we click down, you know, this, like I said, this is all the management stuff. So client connections, you can look at the client connections. You can see all the connections by whatever users that you have, if they're running stuff, if they're running scripts or whatever. And then we can click right here. This will show us the statuses, system variables. You know, you can go through and look at that. You can export data from the databases. You could dump them out, dump stuff out. You can back up the server, you know, back up the data that's on the server. And then here's the import. You can restore from a dump file. So that's pretty cool. You could do a lot of different stuff just from Workbench. And then right here is like the instance stuff. So this is if you had like a cluster, like failover clusters and all that stuff. You have different instances on different nodes, and that's all really for clustering. And then performance, this goes in and shows you the performance of the actual server. So it has a lot of great information in here for you to actually look at and work on your performance of your MySQL server. And here's some reports right here. You can look at the reports, and this is performance schema setup. So you can go in and modify some of this stuff, and they have advanced options in here. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I understand all of this. I know enough to be pretty dangerous in MySQL. So as far as, you know, working with databases. So that's pretty much all I want to show you there on the administrator tab, but they also have a scheme tab. Now this shows you all the databases that are on the server, and you can actually start working with them. Like this classic model server is, or database is one of the databases or test databases I put on this server just to play around with. And it has like a customer table, employee table, and I also have an employees database as well. This one has, you know, a couple tables in it as well, and that's just to kind of play around with it. But once you get in here, you know, you can actually do all your basic things like dropping tables, altering the schema, creating a schema. And if we get in here, you can actually right click on a lot of this stuff. Like if you want to get rid of all this table right here, or these tables, let's say you want to drop all these tables, or drop one of them, you can go in here and just hit drop table. And then if you go up here to tables, you know, you can right click here and hit create table, and you can also create like, you can specify one of the tables that you already have, you know, search table data, all that good stuff. And then one cool thing about it, it automatically pops up with a query screen. And so let's just right click on this and go to select rows, just so we can pull it up and show you some results or whatever. Now this down here is the output for each action that you use. This is the results of the data that you know selected or from the query, and this is the actual query that you created. You can use some of the internal, you know, queries like limit to 1,000 rows, and it's basically just going to put select star from this database, this table. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys in this video. I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of it. You can go through and mess with a lot of these or go through all these menus and check it out for yourself. Connect to a database that you have set up somewhere. You can set up a database on your local machine, it doesn't matter, and connect to it locally. But it's not that difficult to actually start using. It's just you have to kind of understand SQL. You have to understand how databases work. So this is a good way to actually train and learn how to actually use MySQL. So check it out for yourself. If you have any questions, leave comments down in the comment box below, and of course, keep it techie.